Imagine this: a superpower so powerful once called itself the Middle Kingdom, convinced the rest of the world was barbaric, suddenly flooded with a drug so addictive. It turned millions of its people into hollow shells, farms abandoned, silver drained out of the country like blood from a wound. And the dealers? Not some cartel hiding in the shadows, but the British Empire itself, backed by the Royal Navy. What if I told you this was not just a tragic public health crisis? It was deliberate economic warfare, and when China tried to stop it, Britain went to war twice. Stick with me until the end, because this story does not just explain how Hong Kong became British. It shows how one addiction nearly broke an entire civilization and changed the world forever. Let us rewind to the 1700s. Britain was obsessed with one thing: Chinese tea. Not just a drink, a national addiction. By the early 1800s, the British were consuming millions of pounds of tea every year. But there was one massive problem. China did not want anything Britain was selling. Porcelain, silk, manufactured goods? China barely cared. They demanded payment in silver, cold, hard silver. Britain's silver reserves started draining rapidly. The East India Company, essentially the corporate arm of the British Empire, was panicking. They needed something China would buy, something people could not resist. Enter opium, grown in British-controlled India, processed in massive factories, and smuggled into China. Opium was not new to China, but the British industrialized the trade on an enormous scale. In 1773, they secured a monopoly on Bengal opium. By the 1820s and 1830s, they were flooding China with it. Think about this carefully. By 1839, opium imports had exploded. Historians estimate there were over 1 million addicts in China, possibly more. Government officials, soldiers, merchants, even members of the imperial court were addicted. Productivity collapsed. Families sold everything they owned for the next pipe. Silver flowed out of China and directly into British pockets, which Britain then used to buy even more tea. The entire trade balance flipped upside down. Picture a father smoking away his family's future while his children starved nearby. And this was not happening in isolated corners of society. It was spreading across an empire that had ruled for centuries. How did one flower create so much destruction? The Chinese emperor saw exactly what was happening. He watched his country slowly crumbling from within. In 1839, he sent a tough and incorruptible official named Lin Zexu to Canton, the only port open to foreign traders. Lin's mission was simple: stop the opium trade completely. He confiscated and destroyed more than 20,000 chests of British opium, roughly 1,400 tons of the drug, and publicly burned it near the coast. He even wrote a direct letter to Queen Victoria, appealing to her morality and asking how Britain could justify selling poison abroad while banning it at home. Britain's response was not diplomacy. British merchants exploded with outrage. They demanded compensation for their destroyed property. Powerful trading companies like Jardine Matheson pressured the British government to act, and the British government saw an opportunity. In 1839, fighting began. By 1840, the Royal Navy arrived with modern gunboats, advanced cannons, and military technology far beyond anything the Qing dynasty could match. Chinese wooden ships and outdated artillery stood almost no chance. The First Opium War was brutal and humiliatingly one-sided. British forces bombarded ports, captured coastal cities, sailed deep into Chinese rivers, and shattered Qing defenses repeatedly. In 1842, China was forced to sign the Treaty of Nanking, the first of what became known as the unequal treaties. Hong Kong Island was handed over to Britain. 5 major Chinese ports were opened to foreign trade. China was forced to pay enormous financial penalties for the destroyed opium. And most importantly, the opium trade continued. But unbelievably, things became even worse. China attempted to resist foreign influence again. That resistance sparked the Second Opium War in 1856. This time with France joining Britain. The Allied forces marched all the way to Beijing. They looted and burned the Summer Palace, one of the most beautiful imperial complexes on Earth. Priceless artworks, libraries, and treasures were destroyed in flames. More ports were opened. foreign powers gained even greater privileges. And eventually, opium itself was legalized inside China. China was forced open against its will. The human cost was catastrophic. Millions struggled with addiction. Entire communities collapsed. Corruption spread deeper into the government. The Qing dynasty, already weakened by rebellions and economic problems, never truly recovered from the damage. This period became the beginning of what China still calls the Century of Humiliation, an era of foreign domination and exploitation that continues to shape Chinese politics, nationalism, and historical memory even today. Now, some people might say, was this not just normal imperialism? Every empire behaved brutally back then. That is partly true, but stop and think about what actually happened here. A government launched wars to defend its right to sell addictive narcotics to another country. Britain was not simply trading goods, it was weaponizing addiction for profit, economic control, and imperial power. And the consequences spread far beyond the 19th century. Modern Hong Kong emerged directly from these wars. The unequal treaties created resentment that exploded throughout the 20th century. And even today, when Chinese leaders speak about never allowing China to be humiliated again, the memory of the Opium Wars is part of the reason why. So next time you look at a map, drink a cup of tea, or hear discussions about China's relationship with the West, remember this story. A civilization that once considered itself the center of the world was brought to its knees not only by military technology, but by addiction, economics, and empire. And it all began with a flower grown in India and sold by the most powerful trading empire on earth. If you learned something new today, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Could something like this happen again in the modern world? And what hidden history should we uncover next? Thanks for watching until the end. History is not dead. It is still shaping the world around us right now.